Hey guys, welcome back. This is SUBLBC here, doing a, not really an episode of Growing for Freedom, but actually just doing a video a little bit off the normal subjects that we cover here on this channel. And like I said in my previous video, wanted to go a little bit into detail about a new cinema rig that we're going to be using to do a whole bunch of projects, but also to film the new Grower's Guide to Commercial Production Cloning. So in today's video, I wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about this rig, and for all of you guys that might be interested in, stepping up your game or wanting to get some hardcore, cinematography style looks to your videos, then this could be the video for you. And in this one, we're really just going to talk about, just a very basic, shotgun style rig, and then also talk about, some of the more important things that I've learned along the way of, what it came down to in regards to making the right choices, to save yourself a lot of money, because, I've bought a lot of shit, and it took me a little bit of a minute, to figure out what I thought was going to work best for me. Of course, this isn't going to apply to everybody, but I think if you follow some of these rules, you can start doing some pretty amazing shit with your camera rigs. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. So, what you guys are basically looking at here is my Canon Rebel EOS T4i. And at least in the Canon line, I could easily say that this is by far and away their best bang for buck camera. Of course, there are much better cameras in the Canon line, such as the 5D Mark III and the 7D. Some might even prefer the 60D over this camera, although I think that this camera is far superior to the 60D. But as far as price is concerned, it's really great. 1080p video, obviously 24 frames as well as 30 frames, and body only kit is like $650 or something like that. So to get into video, this is a really great way to start. It does have some cool features such as the touchscreen, but as you can see here with the Viewfinder Pro from Zagudu, I guess, is that the name of the company? Is it? Yeah, Zagudu. You really can't use the touchscreen features with that attachment, but we'll get a little bit more into that later. So essentially what you're looking at here, guys, is the shotgun rail rig. It's a dual rail system. We also have a matte box here. This is from Defocus. This here is a 2-stage, which means you can run 2 filters with this matte box. It also can swing away from the lens, and it also has the nice little shroud there where you can actually wrap it right over the lens, completely keeping out all the light around it, which is really great. The lens that I currently have on this camera right now is a Rokinon 85mm T1.5 Cine lens. And one thing I want to say before I get into the lenses in detail is that if you are going to do, or I should say if you are serious about doing filmmaking, then you really need to get proper cinema lenses. And it's somewhat ironic, as far as the entire DSLR film revolution is concerned. A lot of people want to shoot on DSLRs because of the fact that they can use their, wonderful DSLR lenses. But the truth is, guys, is that standard DSLR lenses are fucking garbage for video, especially zooms. Primes are somewhat good, but when you want to try to integrate it into a rig like this, you definitely want to get the proper cinema lenses. And you definitely want to start with prime lenses. I don't recommend getting zooms in any way, shape, or form. And if you are, you definitely want to convert a DSLR into a cine lens. But covering all the ranges here, you can see these are all the lenses that I use for my rig. So we have the aforementioned 85mm T1.5. This is obviously somewhat of a mid to telephoto grade zoom. Prime lens, so obviously for shooting subjects at a distance, but it has that wonderful T1.5 aperture, which pretty much translates into an f1.4 on most DSLR lenses. So very, very wide open you can get with that 85mm and get some wonderful shots. But obviously that can't be really your core lens. You need to have the 35mm as well, also offered at T1.5. Excellent prime lens at the wide angle. Really kind of the core lens for the full frame sensors, not really so much for this camera, which is an APS-C, which is why you also want to have the 24mm T1.5. And you can see, guys, all these lenses are T1.5, so obviously very, very wide open lenses, and great for low lights, shooting, or just to get really awesome blurred background or bokeh in well lit areas. And then want to get an ultra wide as well. This is a 14mm T3.1. You can see that this lens here is not nearly as bright as the other Rokinon counterparts, but it does have that amazing 14mm wide angle, almost the same f-stop range as what you would get from like an f2.8 DSLR prime lens, but at much lower cost. And these Rokinons, guys, is really one important piece to a lot of new technologies that are becoming available. We're at a very special time, I think, for independent filmmakers as far as the tech is concerned. You can get all these lenses here, guys. This is literally the entire Rokinon Cine line. There's only one lens missing from this package, and that is the 8mm T3.5 fisheye, I believe is what it is. But yeah, I didn't want to go with that fisheye lens only because I don't think I'm going to be using it that much, if at all. And I don't know if it will appropriately cover a super 35mm sensor. And I know it will work on the APS-C, but it is too wide for a full frame. You're going to get the cutoffs around the corners with that lens. And the next camera I'm going to be getting is the Blackmagic Cinema Studio Cam, which is a super 35mm sensor that is capable of doing 4K resolution. And if that lens doesn't work on that camera, there's no point in getting it, because that really is going to be my new primary rig. But on top of that, we have the Viewfinder Pro. This is really important, guys, if you're going to be shooting video on your DSLR. Obviously, getting an external monitor is incredibly important in some situations, but if you're going to be shooting outdoors where there's lots of light and glare, you need to have a proper eyepiece. And I believe this one here covers 3.2 inches, and I don't even know how much it cost. Didn't really care. When I went to pick up this thing, I knew that this was going to be an incredibly important part of my cinema rig, and I basically said, what is the best one you have for DSLR, and I just want it. I don't really care what it costs. And they gave it to me, and I bought it. That's pretty much that. Now with DSLRs, one thing you have to understand is that audio is always a problem. So I do have an external audio recorder. This here is the Tascam DR100 MK2. I believe it goes up to 24-bit stereo, 96 kilohertz sampling rate. Very, very high quality audio, and it has XLR jacks and all that, so you can run your external mics. And yeah, we will do on-camera audio combined with this to make things easy to synchronize, but obviously we want to go with this high-end audio in the final cut. Now, this brings us over to the Defocus Cine Bundle, and this is really great, guys. The Defocus company, basically produces really, really inexpensive entry-level follow focus and cine packages for DSLR systems. And for any of you guys that have looked at some of like the Red Rock shit or whatever, pricing is just absolutely crazy. And in the Defocus Cine Bundle, you basically get the Jag35 rail mounts, and you also get the follow focus system itself with the crank. And for all you guys that don't know what this is, essentially if you have a proper cinema lens, you'll see that there's essentially gearing all set up, and that integrates directly with the follow focus system, so that way I can just turn this knob here to get my subjects in focus, and that way I don't have to touch the camera, and that will avoid their any kind of shake you get disturbing the shot. So obviously the follow focus system is incredibly important. With these Rokinon lenses, they are 100% mechanical, so you do have to control everything as far as the iris and focus. Obviously there are no zooms on these primes, although if I do get a zoom lens, Cine, it would have to be either a Cine lens or prepped for Cine use. And then you want to get like a zoom lever, and I actually plan on getting a zoom lever for this for iris control, but I don't have it yet because it's on special order, but it should be in, I think, at some point next week. Now, one thing to notice with this the Viewfinder Pro mount, is that it does have bolt mounts here on the bottom. So once the thing is attached, it's going to go into a riser that will actually mount on top of the Jag35, and that adds a little bit of extra distance right there, and that's a problem, unfortunately, with this style of focus system. Now, the Cine Bundle that I got included the version 3. There's actually a version 4, which is a little bit better as far as the quality of the gearing. And instead of being clamped and slid into place, it actually has a rocker arm mount. And I'm going to get my hands on that as well, because I'm actually going to just return this. Not really return it, but you basically just swap out for the newer piece, since that is what is actually shipping with the Cine Bundle. And it just so happened that I bought an older Cine Bundle with the version 3, but I do want to get that version 4, not only get the better quality of gears, but I want to see if I can use it without this riser, because, because of the fact that I had to put this the Viewfinder on this thing, or the Viewfinder Pro, I then had to raise my follow focus system up because of this extra distance here, so I had to pick up these Red Rock risers. Now, Red Rock, guys, I love the shit they make, don't get me wrong, they make great stuff, but Jesus Christ, this one single riser piece here was $200. just for this stuff with the blue on it, to basically give me this other set of rails so I could bring my follow focus system right into the gearing of my cinema lens. And the entire cinema bundle, which included this matte box, and it's got the side mats, top mat, 2-stage with 1 rotating, and it swings, right? You get that, the follow focus system, plus a set of gears, so if you don't have a proper cine lens, you can attach the gearing to them, and then use the follow focus system. You get that, plus the Jag 35 mount for, I believe it was around $795 or $749. You know what I'm saying? Versus $200 for just that one riser piece from Red Rock. And no one else made a piece like this. There was a Jag 35 piece, but it wasn't adjustable, and it pushed things too high. So, definitely think about that when you're putting your rigs together, that it's all going to fit, and try to avoid spending crazy-ass money on, one core accessory that just happens to cost a fortune because it's the only piece that is going to get the job done. But you can see that once you get this thing all together, guys, you have a proper rig that can just basically get you started. And this obviously does not cover everything. In future videos, we're going to be talking more about, gyro stabilized devices. We're going to talk about glide cams a little bit, and, doing slide rails and motion cams and all kinds of things, because we are going to be building on this quite a bit. And one thing also I want to mention before I forget, not really a big thing, but you want to make sure you also get a proper video tripod. The one that I had before was a major piece of shit. And this is actually, an inexpensive, it's not like the... what is this, the Manfrottos or whatever they're called, that are just really crazy expensive. This one here is from eImage and ran me about $300, but it's a really awesome fluid head, proper tripod. It's great, with the quick release, great adjustability, as far as controlling the panning, as well as the the whole up and down motion. It's incredibly easy to balance. It's just a terrific rig, and it just gives you great shots. And for that price, you really can't beat it. And if we were talking about everything you see here, right, the T4i with all the attachments, the tripod itself, as well as all of these lenses, I mean, Jesus, for $3,000, which I think is what all this stuff costs. Not talking about the audio stuff, but just the camera stuff, I think it was a little bit over $3,000, and that's amazing. For anyone, I mean, Jesus, to get the Zeiss lenses or the proper Canon Cine lenses, some of those lenses, entry level, $3,000 for those primes. And you can see that I am still missing a 50mm. I do want to get one, but Rokinon does not make it, unfortunately. So one thing I'm probably going to be doing is actually getting a completely geared lens. I can basically purchase a Canon 50mm f1.4 lens and have it re-enclosed into a proper Cine-style enclosure with gearing and with all the stuff written on the side. And that's incredibly important, guys. We're doing lens changes, and you want to integrate it with your follow focus system. DSLR lenses are just not good for that at all, and you have to put a whole gearing assembly on them, and it really makes it a pain in the ass to take those things in and out and on and off. And with the price of these lenses, guys, $2,000 for that entire set, it's worth it. And they take amazingly sharp photographs and videos at that price point, and it's like, for people that want to get into it, that's really where it begins. You want to get yourself the entire set of Rokinon Cineprimes, and just go budget. This stuff, God, it's seriously, not too long ago, to get a rig that has close to this capability would just cost tens of thousands of dollars, and now for 3Gs you can put something pretty good together, and it's only going to be getting better from here, guys. Blackmagic Cinema camera, 4K resolution for $4,000, going to be out here in a couple months. We've got the Movi M10 3-axis gyro stabilized free floating rig with wireless control, just absolutely amazing. And then lastly, guys, coming up here in a little bit less than a month, we've got the new Adobe Premiere CC with OpenCL support, basically allowing the software to use any kind of GPU and multiple GPUs to accelerate the Mercury playback engine. And with all these technologies converging, guys, it's going to get really interesting, I think, for independent filmmakers, because now we can start making films, equal to, and in some cases maybe even better than what we see coming out of Hollywood. It's finally becoming available, and it's a really exciting time for me, because it's one of those things where I actually have the resources do it, you know, for real. And I'm really excited not only to make my cannabis videos a lot better, but also to bridge off and do all kinds of other productions, you know, things that I've been just kind of bouncing around in my head for the last couple of years. But that's going to be coming up in future videos. So as always, guys, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them. Otherwise, as always, things you want to have addressed in the live show, email those directly to me at SUBLBCQ&A@gmail.com, and we will be doing the live show next Sunday coming up here at 7 o'clock. So, as always, guys, thanks a lot for watching, and I will see you all next time.